Hello everyone, I'm Animism, and welcome back to Let's Play Subterranean Animism. So, last time I went through the regular story mode of the game. This time it's time to play through the extra stage. To unlock the extra stage, you need to beat the game on normal mode or harder without continuing. And I've managed to do that as Reimu and Yukari. You can see I can't even choose the other characters there. I've also managed to do it as Marisa and Pachuli. So let's play as them, just for a change of pace from the previous video. I'm sure at some point I've managed to beat normal mode as everyone else as well, but I think I lost my save file when I moved over to a new computer or something. So I haven't really bothered to do it as anyone since then, except for my two favourite shot types to play as. Anyway, the extra stage is a very long and fairly difficult stage. It's probably about as hard as beating a late game stage on normal or hard mode, but it's longer than that. And you're not allowed to continue as well. Oh, get out of the way. You have to do the entire thing with one set of lives. Because I'm playing as Marisa and Pachuli now, I've got a new gimmick. Instead of being able to teleport from one side of the stage to the other, I can instead swap between 5 different attack patterns on the fly. None of them are as strong as Reimu and Yukari, but they all hit different angles, and having a lot of versatility like that is nice. Especially in the full game story. In the extra stage I'm mainly just swapping between 2 of them, but the other weirder ones can come in handy from time to time. With 9-syllable stabs here, this first spell card is definitely a bit of a warm-up compared to basically everything else in the extra stage. You just go forward to go through the gaps there before they close up, and then every time you see the lasers coming, you just go back down to the safe spot. The lasers are the same every time, so there's no need to actually react and dodge. Miracle Fruit is definitely a big step up from that. So with Miracle Fruit here, as the circles of bullets spawn in, you need to be very, very quick to judge where the gaps are going to line up. Because you don't have enough time to dodge each circle of bullets individually, you have to dodge them a few at a time. So you actually need to find a safe spot where they're all going to cross over. With Bumper Crop Rice Shower here, what you need to do is juke the red bullets around, make gaps in them, while also paying attention to the random bullets on the side. So this one's pretty tricky. It's a little bit easier if you're willing to get right up in Sanai's face, because the blue and yellow bullets kind of cross over each other at the bottom. This is also a fairly... oh, damn it. This pattern here is also fairly juke heavy. I messed it up a bit and got stuck though, so I had to use a bomb. This one looks pretty intimidating, but there just aren't that many bullets. As long as you know the hitboxes fairly well, you can afford to get fairly close to them without taking a hit. And then this pattern's just kind of nice and slow. No problems there. Come on. Got her. She wasn't hurting anyone, I just wanted the points. So, this is the extra boss of the stage, Koishi Kameji. I'll probably do a second attempt of this stage where I'll have more time to talk about, the lore and the characters or whatever, but for now, it's more important to focus on the bullets. So with our first spell card here, Ancestors standing beside your bed. Sorry, it's a bit of a mouthful. There's 2 distinct phases to it. There's juking around the red bullets, and then there's the lasers. The lasers look very intimidating, but the thing is that they're the same pattern every time, so as long as you memorize where the safe spots are, like I have, then you'll be fine. The first safe spot is right in the center, near the bottom of the screen. And then the second safe spot is a little bit harder to describe, but do you see that little enemy icon at the bottom of the screen? I basically use that to kind of line myself up, where if I'm like right above the Y, then that's where the second safe spot for the lasers is. You'll be able to tell what I'm doing, lining myself up with that Y, if you like go back and just have a quick look at it again. Her second spell card, Danmaku Paranoia. The pink bullets kind of move around with you, but they're slow enough to update that if you try to move too quickly, you'll crash into them. So it forces you to stay moving fairly slowly, as the blue bullets are then the thing that you're actually dodging. Now the hitboxes on the blue bullets are very small, much smaller than they actually look like. So you can see, like, all of this looks like it should be hitting me, but actually as long as I avoid the center of the blue bullets, I'm fine. That's why it's called Danmaku Paranoia, because it's trying to trick you into getting more scared than you should be. It's a very claustrophobic spell card, but if you understand the hitboxes, then you can dodge through it just fine. Next up, Release of the Id. With Release of the Id, you don't want to be too far down or up the screen. Obviously being too far up is bad, because, you know, that's where the bullets are coming from. But being too far down is also bad. Like, look at that mess down there. I don't want to be part of that. So I stay near the center, and I just dodge through each color individually. Go right through the pink bullets, left through the red ones, one color at a time. You don't want to try and dodge them while they're crossing over. Oh, that was way too early. I should have taken the next gap. Oh well, it's not a bad place for the first death of the run. Maybe I should be on Water Shot. I'm not actually staying underneath her that squarely. Oh, ah, man, what is wrong with me today? We're gonna have to play the next half of the fight very well to make up for that. Most of Koishi's non-spell card attack patterns are fairly simple. At least simple enough where you can kind of tell what they're going for just by looking at them anyway. No need to explain them. I'll give you that. Super Ego is basically just the same thing as Release of the Id, but backwards. If you know your Freudian psychology, or rather, if you are wrong about psychology in the same way that Freud is, then you'll be able to understand just from the name. A lot of Koishi's non-spell card attack patterns look like this, where you need to quickly swap between focused and unfocused mode as the walls of bullets pen you down. With this spell card here, Yokai Polygraph, there's nothing to dodge basically, it's all just juking. The bullets follow you around with rotational symmetry, but because they're constantly, like, you can see that the lasers that spawn the bullets keep moving around in a circular pattern, forcing you to, like, go around the boss, otherwise they'll run into you. And then forcing you to go around the boss forces you to, like, keep crossing over these blue bullets, which forces you to juke them around to make gaps for yourself. It's a really weird pattern. It's also a survival spell card. There's no need to shoot down the boss, it just ends when the timer ends. Oh, I didn't make a great gap for myself there. Alright, I managed to save it though. There we go. Yeah, so with a pattern like this especially, you're constantly swapping between focused and unfocused mode as you try to find gaps precisely, but also run the hell away from big walls of bullets. Okay, this is a hard one. Rorschach and Danmaku. There's no juking here at all. The pattern is the same every time. It's just a hard pattern. The gaps are very small, and frequently you have to make 3 or 4 tight dodges in a row once these pink bullets get added. Ooh. Okay, that was pretty close. Oh no! I knew that was a bad one. I should have just bombed. You can see in my history here, I've literally never managed to do this one perfectly as this character. I was close that time though. If I just managed to pull off that dodge instead of dying, I would have had it. The thing about using your bombs against Koishi is that she's completely immune to them. Every time you bomb, she puts up a big shield that makes her invincible, so you can't even shoot her during a bomb either. It doesn't make your bombs worthless. Obviously you should still use them to save your life, but it does mean that every time you bomb, you're just slowing the fight down. No, I thought I would have to move away, but actually I can stay underneath her. Embers of Love here is fairly self-explanatory. There's no part of this spell card that's like aimed at you or different or whatever. She just like moves around kind of randomly, firing out a couple of embers every now and again. The embers do eventually disappear, so it's not like it's constantly getting harder and harder. I believe it's at maximum difficulty now. You just have to make sure that like you're paying attention to the entire screen at once so that you know where the bounces are going to end up. Oh, jeez. Okay, fine. I'll use a bomb to... If you try and start this off with a weird movement, then the pattern will also get weird. You really need to stay near the center and just kind of tuck yourself around these blue bullets instead. Oopsie. Embarrassing. That was not a hard dodge. Oh, now I have to use another bomb. Yeah, there's the shield there. Every time you bomb during one of her spell cards, she does that. You're allowed to bomb the non-spell card attack patterns, but why would you? Unless you're a doofus like me. Genetics of the Subconscious here, it's kind of like Rorschach in Danmaku, but there's a lot less bullets, and instead the difficult part is the fact that she's constantly moving around. Is she about to come for? No. Okay, I thought she was gonna get over on my side, but instead she went up there. She will just go straight at you sometimes, and then you need to think quickly about like where you're going to run away to. Now this is where the weird shots that Marisa and Pachali can do together come in handy. Like normally it would be like, why the hell would you ever want to shoot backwards, but against Genetics of the Subconscious it actually makes sense sometimes. It's hard to change my shot type while I'm also trying to dodge though. So sometimes I'll have to stay on a useless one just so I can have a little bit more attention on where I'm going. Okay, got it. That's a fairly tricky one. I'm glad I managed to do that perfectly. This spell card here, Philosophy of a Hated Person. She's completely disappeared, so there's nothing to shoot at. It's just a survival spell card. The pattern is fairly easy, but the roses chase you around. The roses follow the same movement pattern every time, so I just know that you should be in the top right corner right now. But then they come around for you, so you swap to the top left corner. And then they double back, so you swap to the top right corner again. This is the hard part, because you need to really fight against the pattern to get into a different corner. And then this part here, now the roses go around in a circle, so you need to keep fighting against the pattern to get into a square where you're not going to be forced against a wall. Yeah, like you need to be near the middle when the roses catch you, otherwise you'll be forced against the wall and you won't have any room to move. Her final spell card, Subterranean Rose. Just like a good final spell card, it gets harder as it goes along. So this first part's fairly easy. The gaps in the bullets are very small, and if you're paying too much attention to that, then the roses will catch you off guard. Like there, I had to do a very quick dodge to get out of the way of the red ones. This is the basic idea, though. It gets more difficult as you deal damage to her. Oh! See, I wasn't paying attention. I ran right into that red thing. Red, blue, red. I won't be able to commentate here. I need to focus way too hard on, like, both of these things at once. When I died to an easy part of the spell card, it really woke me up a little bit, because it gets way harder from here. With this one, the difficult part is being forced against the bottom of the screen. See how I was almost forced there? I need to, yeah. You need to dodge through 2 or 3 at a time, and then that buys you one where you're allowed to just wait. And then here's the real hard bit. I got my finger on the bomb button. Now you're constantly dodging bullets, and you need to remember which one's safe. So red is safe next, blue is safe next, and so on. That might be too low. It wasn't, just barely. Whew, okay. It's a shame I died on the easy part. I would have been able to do that spell card perfectly otherwise. Okay. Well, that's that. Apparently it's the best I've ever done on it. Okay, let's go through it. Oh, the game has crashed. Ha! That's the first time I've ever seen that. One moment. Let's just do this live, I guess. Swap to dark mode. Close the game. Man, this is weird. I don't think I've ever seen this video game crash, and I've played it for like 1,000 hours. Alright, back to Touhou. Where is it? I mean, I just wanted a debriefing, basically. I was just gonna, like, play through again while talking about some stuff. Weird. Anyway, this time... I mean, I'll just do stuff with my hands while I talk about some other things. This is not a second actual attempt at the stage. So 2 things to talk about. Firstly, let's just have a quick story recap, because I never got a chance to do it. I won on the first try. If you'll recall from the previous video, I talked about how the previous final boss and this game's final boss were linked. Ooh, just barely managed to get that. Because I said, oh, the previous final boss wanted to cause an energy revolution in Gensokyo, so she gave the power to control nuclear fusion to some random bird and then said, hey, do you want to control a nuclear reactor? Oh, you would rather try to burn away the surface of the Earth? That sucks. Anyway, so that was a dumb idea, and here Marisa is traveling up the old shrine road to get to the previous final boss and give him a stern talking to. And that's actually what Sanae is here for, the mid-boss of this stage. She's the shrine maiden of this shrine. She worships the final boss of the previous game, who is the god of this shrine. And when Marisa gets here, Sanae's like, no, go away. Like, you're here to poke fun at us again or whatever the hell. Get out. And then that might lead you to think that Koichi is, like, related to the final boss in some way. Sorry, Koichi is related to the story of this game in some way. Or, like, related to this shrine in some way or whatever. But she really isn't, actually. She's basically just a rando that Marisa happens to meet. It's like, what's the deal with that? Okay. Koichi is the sister of the 4th boss of this game. So let's see... Like, basically what happens is Koichi just happens to be traveling to this shrine as well, sees Marisa and says, wait a second, my sister was talking about this really rude witch that shot her down just a couple of days ago. Whoops. Yeah, spell card will get you sometimes. Talking about this really rude witch. Was that you? And then Marisa goes, no. Or at least I assume she lies about it. And then Koichi's like, no, it totally is you. You're a jerk. Also, you're strong. Like, let's have a cool fight, but also I'm going to teach you a lesson. And then that's basically the only rationale behind the fight. And then after that, Marisa gets a chance to talk to Sanae some more. Like, this is not what I came here for, Sanae. Please let me see your god. She did something stupid and I need to yell at her. And then Sanae's like, alright, but I don't even know if she's here or not. And then the actual story continues from there. And then that sets off some other things in motion. There's a whole big thing, like a whole big arc from this game to a few other games. But that's not super important. Oh my goodness. I guess I'm not concentrating super hard on the bullets now, huh? I got my run on camera, that's all I needed. I can show off the other shot types as well a bit. Like, I didn't use wood very much. This diagonal one. This one is very powerful. If you can actually get in position to use it, it kills enemies very quickly. Yeah, like that. Even though it's only 2 shots, the shots are very powerful. And then metal as well. Let's see, is there anything to show off or talk about here? I don't know. Let's see. I don't believe I've used any bombs yet, right? I've just died twice. One thing I have managed to do on this extra stage, because I've practiced it so many times, is I've managed to beat it without bombing. Extra stage no bombs is just about the hardest thing you can do before you're ready for lunatic difficulty. Unfortunately, I'm still... Actually, like, okay, the very easiest Touhou games, like Imperishable Night, I can almost do that one on lunatic difficulty. So if you're wondering exactly where I'm at with these games, it's about there. If I've practiced an extra stage like a million times, I can just barely do it without bombing. I can beat all the games on hard, and I just barely can't beat any of them on Lunatic. Anyway, so I guess that's the final thing for today. My finger is completely off the bomb button. Let's see how far I can get with no lives, no bombs, just playing absolutely perfectly. Alright, I messed this one up last time, but it's not that hard. You can see that my history on it is 8 out of 18. That was a big movement. I don't have a lot of room on my left anymore. Okay. Oh, I earned an extra life. That's fine, I'll just stick to the no bombs conduct. If I die, that's fine. Whoa, that was close. Koishi's kind of a fun character. She's one of my favorites. The basic idea is that, or the basic idea, her backstory is that Satori and Koishi are both members of the Satori species. Like, freaking Satori's parents freaking calling her what she is, like if my dad or my mum called me human. But anyway, so Satori and Koishi are both Satori, which are a mind-reading kind of yokai. And the cool thing is that, like, Satori is basically an introverted hermit kind of person, so she doesn't really get much of a chance to actually show off her power anymore. She's just basically living alone in the House of the Earth Spirits. Actually, that's not true. She lives with her pets, and her pets very much appreciate the fact that she can read their minds. But Koishi is a more extroverted person. She's kind of a people person. And the fact that she could read minds was kind of depressing to her, because like it made conversations really difficult. It made people just not like talking to her, basically. And so what she did was, she used a magical ritual to give herself brain damage. She forcibly closed her third eye, and now she can't read minds anymore. Unfortunately for her, that also means that now she can't read her own conscious mind either. Like, apparently that's how Satori work. If they didn't have the ability to read minds, they wouldn't even be able to read their own minds. Or maybe it's just something that she did to herself when the ritual went wrong or something, who knows, but that's what happened to her. It sounds kind of messed up when you put it that way. I mean, I did purposefully say... Oops! Wow, I really messed that one up, huh? I did purposefully say she gave herself brain damage just to make it sound a little bit more, edgy, salacious. What's the word I'm looking for? Scandalous? I don't know. I wanted to make it sound cooler, but in an edgy way. Anyway. But the thing is that she's basically fine with it. Like, she still does have thoughts in her head somewhere, as you can tell from the fact that she's still capable of holding a conversation. She just has trouble, like, remembering why she's doing things. She, like, acts on instinct and reflex a lot. And then the fun contrast that the games and the stories and the comics and whatnot like to show between Satori and Koishi is that Satori is usually depicted as, like, fairly melancholic. Like, she just kind of has a dull, blank expression on her face a lot of the time. Or sometimes she just looks downright miserable. Whereas Koishi, you can see her spell card cut in there. Oh, here's where my no bombs run ends, by the way. There's no way I'm going to do this right. Whereas Koishi basically looks extremely cheerful all the time. Like, sure, she can't read her own mind anymore, but apparently it was the best decision she ever made in her life. Ignorance is bliss, apparently. There's a fun meme screenshot that goes around that's like a screenshot of one of the fighting games, where Koishi literally just says to someone that she loves not thinking. Anyway. So that's some backstory about Koishi, and Well, a no bombs run that managed to get a little bit further than I expected, honestly. If I just didn't die those 2 times in the actual stage, maybe I could have gotten all the way to the end. Anyway, that's Touhou. Well, no, it's not. That's like a tiny sliver of Touhou. That is 5% of the entire Touhou cake that I have scarfed down so readily. And then regurgitated for you, I guess? I'm not sure why I chose this metaphor. Anyway, something else will be on Thursday. See you all then.